Hey, Benny, guess what?
What's that?
It's 100 days to the opening of the regular season. So to celebrate, I did one of your things. One of those something, something, had a drink with to celebrate 100 days to the kickoff of the regular season with 2024.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Salute.
Any excuse to take a drink from me, that's easy.
Yeah, I know. It's smooth, but it's still alcohol for sure. Anywho, what I put together is just some information talking about some of those events that's going to happen. That's kind of happened through the preseason into the opening season. Not everything there, but most of the important events. So let's take a quick look, Benny, at our Facebook page where I have that information all set. So this is Ben and Barry on football on Facebook. And what we're talking about is the countdown for 100 days to the NFL season kicks off. So some of these we've kind of already had, but they're included here so people can understand some of the things that are leading up. And to be quite honest with you, they're talking about a lot of changes now with the push toward 18 games. And so the NFLPA is now talking about how they might want to restructure things. So this is the current structure, just to kind of go over it. So 1 through 5 here includes a voluntary off-season workout program. And it's funny because I've even seen people talk about who didn't show, and then other people go, but it's voluntary. So
That's right.
everybody's going to show. We currently just saw OTAs. And those are where you have essentially non-contact practices, 7-on-7s, 9-on-7. Interesting, if you look on our Facebook page, Benny, there's an article about Caleb Williams. Apparently he had a bad day, and it really hit the news. He threw some interceptions and things of that nature. Next is the mandatory mini camp. 1 mandatory mini camp for veteran players during phase 3 of the off-season program. So this is a critical time for team building and player evaluation. We have the rookie football development programs. That already started May 13th. So that was 1 post-draft rookie mini camp. And then we have training camp, and that's what we know is coming up now. Most of this stuff is pretty much, we've been through it now. Training camp being the next biggest thing, starts in late July. And, the mandatory mini camp, is June 11th through June 13th. So that part of it hasn't passed yet. Okay. And so this is the 105th season of the NFL. And when we say 100 days, we're talking till kickoff when the Kansas City Chiefs host the Baltimore Ravens on a Thursday night at 8:20. So, Benny, if you're going to kick off a season, what a game to kick it off with.
Well, that's a wonderful game to kick off the season.
Oh, man.
No doubt about it.
I'm telling you. What are you feeling so far about, the time now between now and then? What are you looking forward to seeing as a part of the off season?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to those first 3 things that you mentioned as far as what we're into now and the time that we have coming up. OTAs is the organized team activities that is voluntary, that started around the 20th of May. I'm sorry. Yeah, 20th of May, and should be ending around June 7th. Again, that is voluntary. Mandatory minicamp starts on June 11th and will proceed till like June 13th. And then they'll be off. And then July 19th will be the start of mandatory training camp. Now, the thing about these dates is, what you have to remember, and you mentioned one thing about people wondering, why did this person or that person on this team or that team not show up for OTAs? Those are mandatory. A lot of veteran players don't like to go to OTAs because they don't like training camp anyway. And that's also a time for guys that are still working on contracts to kind of do their little, not really a holdout, but, I'm not going to go into OTAs and be out there running and pull a hammy and I don't have a signed contract.
They were even talking about, like, when we talked about the change that could, the potential future changes, they even talked about what would happen if the NFL players had off, like February, March, and April, or March, April, and May, like 3 months in a row,
Right.
what that would look like. So I don't know. There's a lot of, we see a lot of times, a lot of business happening in the off season. And we look at the NFL season as being year round right now. So.
Right. Well, I would think, and I know the NFLPA is in talks about rule changes and things like that. One of the big things coming out of the commissioner's office is the wanting to change the season to an actual 18-game season. If in fact they were to do that, then I think that they would probably want to restructure how the off season goes, as far as how long the players are off, when mini camps start, how many preseason games need to be played, things of that nature. So, but where we are right now is we're in the middle of OTAs. That will soon be over. Then mandatory minicamp will proceed. Now, here's the deal. Mandatory minicamp means if you're on the team, you need to be there. And if you are not signed to a contract, they still expect you to be there. And if you don't come, then you would be considered holding out. And players do that because they're trying to make a point. But hopefully, their agents are in the process of talking to the teams and trying to work contract things out for them. So now, since we're talking contracts, obviously we just finished the draft. Obviously, teams need to get their drafted and unsigned free agent players signed to contracts, because you want to have guys signed to contracts before mandatory minicamp starts so that you can get these guys into camp, get them ready, and get them revved up for the real training camp that starts in July. Again, that is also mandatory, and that's when the preseason games take place.
No, that's it for that, Benny. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to just, again, cheers to you. Cheers, 100 days to the beginning of the season.